During recent congressional testimony, Dr. Anthony Fauci admitted that there is no scientific basis for the 6-foot social distancing rule and was completely stumped when asked to recall any evidence at all on the efficacy of child masking, and eventually conceded to a lack of scientific basis.
Mr. Fauci, you also represent the type of science where you confess that you made up the COVID rules, including
I didn't hear what you
6
said.
feet social distancing and masking of children.
I never said I made anything up.
You admitted that you made it up. You
I
made it
didn't
up
say
as you went.
I made it up.
So are you saying this is fake news, Mr. Fauci?
I didn't say I made anything up.
What did you say?
I said that it is not based in science and it just appeared.
But
his exact quote on the 6-foot rule is that it was an empiric decision that wasn't based on data or even data that could be accomplished. Fauci also said that it wasn't his job to, quote, publicly challenge that rule. Instead, he asserted that it was the CDC's call, the CDC who repeatedly, time and time again, put that 6-foot rule in their guidance. He was the most well-respected scientist and health official in America, and also the highest paid person in the entire federal government. But he just went, well, it's not my job, when he saw guidelines that later played an important role in destroying communities that he knew had no scientific basis. Now, he justified his statement by saying, well, I didn't mean it had no scientific basis. What I meant was just that there were no clinical trials or studies that proved it. Yeah, so that's gonna be exactly what a scientific basis is. Fauci time and time again supported the CDC's guidance on spread prevention. He didn't remain indifferent. He knowingly supported bunk science, all the while mindless drones of the left parroted their new mantra, trust the science.
Because all of the things that I have spoken about consistently from the very beginning have been fundamentally based on science.
The idea of masking and social distancing apparently came from a time when scientists believed that the primary transmission of the virus were droplets rather than aerosolization. Do you seriously expect me to believe that it took you guys, scientists, experienced scientists for decades, 2 years to figure out that people were catching this virus from aerosolized particles rather than droplets on surfaces? You ever sneeze with a mask on? It still goes everywhere. The same with coughing. Did you ever hold your hand in front of the mask while you breathe? It still gets wet. And that's exactly why the 6-foot rule doesn't work. If we're in a line and I'm in front of you, I sneeze, we both move up, you're now standing in my COVID sneeze regardless of whether I had a mask on. It took you 2 years to figure that out? Oh, I forgot. Fauci has all the answers. Apparently, he had it all figured out. He just decided never to challenge the CDC because it wasn't his job. Fauci was undoubtedly in communication with the CDC. He had to be. He even admitted as much. They were on the COVID response team. Yet, despite Fauci's knowledge and his proximity to the CDC, they still, time and time again, recommended this 6-foot rule. Us, we all knew that the 6-foot rule was BS and that masks, at least the thin surgical ones, didn't do anything to stop the spread. They called us crazy. They said we were conspiracy theorists, and all the while they tried to mandate that we remain away from our friends and family, even if they were dying, and that we restrict our airways and wear ineffective masks constantly. They kicked people off of airplanes when their 2-year-olds couldn't keep masks on. And this, folks, is why you never just blindly trust the science. Science is not a monolith. Scientists are learning constantly and disagree all the time, and they did during the pandemic. But anyone who wasn't a government crony was ostracized for their dissenting and evidently correct opinions. If somebody says something like this,
as attacks on me, quite frankly, are attacks on science,
it's probably safe to assume that they're trying to manipulate you.